Coming up in this episode of In Clear Focus,
You just got to get your hands in there because that is where you truly learn by executing and doing. You may make mistakes along the way, and that's actually great. That's where you learn 100 times more after you make a mistake.
you're listening to In Clear Focus, fresh perspectives on marketing and advertising produced weekly by Big Eye, a strategy-led full-service creative agency growing brands for clients globally. Hello, I'm your host, Adrian Tennant, Chief Strategy Officer. Thank you for joining us. Digital marketing has become the cornerstone of modern marketing practice, revolutionizing how brands engage with consumers. Over the past 2 decades, the digital landscape has seen monumental shifts, most notably the rise of social media marketing, which has transformed many consumers' relationships with brands. The impending cookieless future underscores the importance of first-party data solutions, with an increasingly privacy-focused digital world requiring innovative strategies. Our guest today navigates this complex and ever-evolving landscape. Ashley Stanford is a digital marketing expert, currently Executive Vice President of Client Strategy at TicketSocket and Vice President and co-founder of Ice Cream Social. With over 15 years of experience, Ashley specializes in event marketing strategy, social advertising, and influencer marketing, and has worked with clients including Whole Foods Market, Cool Sculpting, Spartan Race, USA Triathlon, and Invisalign, among many others. Ashley combines her professional expertise with personal interests, including biohacking. To discuss digital marketing strategy, I'm delighted that Ashley is joining us today from Huntington Beach, Southern California. Ashley, welcome to In Clear Focus.
Thank you, Adrian. I've really been looking forward to having this chat with you.
Well, as I mentioned in the intro, you've worked in digital marketing for 15 years. How did you first enter the industry?
If I'm being quite candid, completely honest here, in high school, marketing was really the only class that I did really well in, where everything just kind of clicked and I got it. And so, that really helped form my path, joined the marketing club and decided that that's what I wanted to major in when I went to college.
What are the most significant changes and innovations you've witnessed over the past 15 years?
Wow, I would say the biggest one came pretty early on in my career. I was maybe 1 or 2 years into working in marketing. And at the time, I was really focused in on website development and search engine optimization. And out of nowhere came social media marketing. I mean, Twitter was there a little bit, but once Facebook rolled out and became open to everybody and businesses started asking, how can I promote my business before there was even Facebook pages, I would say that was a huge turning point in my career where I really had to pivot and say, okay, I gotta, maybe switch focus and follow this and see where it goes.
Based on your extensive experience now with influencer marketing, what key elements make for a successful influencer partnership, would you say?
First things first, you need a pretty good contract in place. You don't want to approach influencer marketing just, hey, let's swap type situation. You do want to put some boundaries in place. And within that contract, I would say the most important things from a marketing standpoint that you do want to include would be, number one, a clearly outlined set of deliverables. What exactly do you expect this influencer to create for you? And list out every platform, piece of content, how long you think it should be. You really want to have clear guidelines set on what the expectations are. And number two, you do want to be sure you give them brand guidelines and explain what are non-negotiables. Because at the end of the day, if an influencer creates a piece of content for you and they say something about your brand or industry that would, in some occasions, deem that content unusable on your end, that can be a big issue. And number three, I would say you do want to make sure you include what we call whitelister access. And essentially what that will allow is for the brand to put paid dollars behind that influencer's social media content so that the content's being promoted under that influencer's profiles.
How do you approach the challenge of measuring the success of influencer marketing campaigns?
Great question. You'd be surprised. There is a lot that you can actually measure. And, with influencers, there can be a lot of different things that you do to have measurement in place, whether it's a promo code for tracking or a specific URL. It also depends what your end goal is. If you're trying to drive sales or drive leads or something of that sort, that can be, obviously, you just can't always track that word of mouth all the time. Maybe it can be a matter of, putting at checkout, how did you hear about us? Some larger brands that I've worked with that have a very nice marketing budget to play with, I say, they do invest in what we call social listening tools, where you can actually monitor these essentially name drops about you all across the internet and what those conversations are. And from there, you can monitor trends of, when your brand awareness goes up and down and where that could be rooted from.
Do you think that social listening tools should be held by clients, or should agencies also have access to them?
Both. So personally speaking, where I've had a lot of experience with social listening, I've always worked on the agency side. So the agency will often pay for these tools and run the reports, digest them, and basically give them to the client, because a lot of times the agencies are the ones handling these different campaigns where it is important to track from a digital perspective. A lot of times they're managing the influencer campaign. So if they want to prove that it's working, a lot of times the agencies are the ones that invest. But it also does depend on the department and your reasons for tracking. Right now, we focus a lot on event marketing, but I did spend a good 10 years working in medical device marketing. And you do need social listening because you do need to listen for when people are talking about your product in a way that's FDA approved or adverse effects, and you have to be ready to respond. So that could be from customer service, and you can see where it's beneficial from a marketing standpoint. So it also depends on the department, what you need it for, those sort of things that you got to take into consideration.
Well, Ashley, you're the co-founder of Ice Cream Social. Can you explain what it is and how it supports organizations in the events and entertainment space?
Ice Cream Social is a social referral tool that we've created essentially to turn all of your customers into influencers for your brand. So it's kind of taking anyone, even if they do not have an Instagram profile with any followers, anyone can still be an influencer. Everyone has an intimate circle of friends and family, even if they are not out there talking about everything online. And that is a huge missed opportunity for a lot of brands of only thinking influencers are anyone with X amount of followers on social media. That's really not the case. And so Ice Cream Social essentially incentivizes and gamifies sharing, what you're doing in this particular case. Ice Cream Social mostly works in the event industry. So in this case, letting all your friends know you're going to a particular event. And if you get enough friends to come along with you, then you get a prize. Whatever the event company decides that's going to be, whether it's a gift card, free merchandise, free ticket, refund, whatever the case may be. So it's really just kind of incentivizing that word of mouth marketing.
And how did you come up with the name Ice Cream Social?
Thanks for asking, because it has nothing to do with ice cream necessarily. So everyone's like, what is Ice Cream Social? What does this mean? And really just the idea came from back in the day when word of mouth marketing was much more prevalent and happening at things like your Avon parties, your Tupperware parties, your neighborhood ice cream socials and barbecues. And so that's kind of where the name was inspired from.
Love that. Well, Ice Cream Social was selected for the NBCUniversal Sports Tech Accelerator program. What has that experience been like?
Amazing. So great. And NBC Comcast Sports Tech has been so wonderful to work with. It was a really cool experience. And essentially what they did is they took our, as co-founders, they narrowed it down. There was over 800 companies that applied to be into this cohort. and they choose 10. And they take the leadership team of those 10 startup companies and they put them through an accelerator program where they help you define a lot of things within your company. They may help you raise capital. They help you practice public speaking in your sales pitch and all these really great, helpful things as a co-founder. And more importantly, what they do is they introduce us and help us build relationships with all of their partners. So whether that's NASCAR, Golf Now, ESPN, WWE, it was a really great opportunity and continues because it hasn't ended yet. It's a forever partnership where they're always introducing us to these companies and helping us find use cases for our product.
Well, as you mentioned, your app incentivizes word of mouth marketing while also gathering valuable first-party data. Is this a model you foresee working in other verticals outside of events and entertainment?
Absolutely. And that's actually what brought Ice Cream Social to life, was wanting it to live outside of just events. It was a feature set created within our parent company called TicketSocket. And essentially COVID hit, which was not a great time to be an event when events were not happening. And we kind of had to pivot at that time as we had a full staff and obviously wanted to keep the company moving forward, even if events were not happening. And we had some clients actually reach out to us who couldn't put on events, but were still pushing their merchandise. They may have had like a merchandise component to their business and event. And so they asked if they could actually use Ice Cream Social on their e-commerce website that wasn't selling tickets, but selling merchandise. And we thought, that's a great idea. So that's kind of where we, at that point, peeled Ice Cream Social off from being a feature inside of a product to being its own standalone company. And so, yes, we do have many cases of Ice Cream Social being used outside of events and entertainment and tourism.
Let's take a short break. We'll be right back after this message. Each month, in partnership with our friends at Kogan Page, the Big I Book Club features books by industry thought leaders. Our featured book for February is Sustainable Marketing, the Industry's Role in a Sustainable Future by Paul Randall and Alexis Eyre. The book provides a comprehensive guide to transitioning to more sustainable marketing practices while avoiding the pitfalls of greenwashing. The authors explain key concepts using their unique framework and provide actionable insights based on real-world case studies. You can save 25% on a print or electronic version of this month's featured book using the exclusive promo code BIGEYE25. This code is valid for all Kogan Page titles, including pre-orders and their free paperback and ebook bundle offer. Shipping is always free to the US and UK when you order directly from Kogan Page, and it supports the authors as well. So to order your copy of Sustainable Marketing, go to koganpage.com. Welcome back. I'm talking with Ashley Stanford, a digital marketing expert and entrepreneur. In addition to your role with Ice Cream Social, you're also the EVP of Client Strategy for TicketSocket. Ashley, can you explain what TicketSocket is?
Yes. TicketSocket is a white-labeled ticketing and registration system. So we power a lot of big brand events to facilitate that ticketing transaction.
At TicketSocket, you aim to enhance client revenue without increasing marketing budgets. I've got to say, that sounds like something clients everywhere are interested in all the time. Could you share some of the strategies or tactics you've implemented that have been particularly effective?
Yes, I love telling clients that that's my role, and we kind of had to make up that role after I've decided that's what I want to do. So what I'll do is I will work with a lot of our clients at TicketSocket. And we'll come in and we'll look at what they're doing with their marketing. And I'll look at their strategy. I'll look at all their different tactics, and we'll find ways to optimize what they're doing so each little piece can perform better and create kind of that compound effect. And through that, what I find is a lot of people, don't even have a marketing strategy, or maybe they're all in on Facebook ads. There's a lot of things that you can do to improve your marketing spend already without spending more money on Facebook ads. There's other things out there that work really well. And I mean, one thing that gets me really excited in particular is I found with a lot of these clients when we implement Ice Cream Social into their marketing strategy, their kind of channel stack of things that they're doing with email, SMS, Facebook ads, billboards, whatever they're doing, we found that adding in that word of mouth marketing component to it actually brings down the cost per acquisition across all of those marketing channels. That's been really fun to see. So my whole goal is just, I love optimization, growing up playing video games and finding new, better ways to beat the game. And so I've kind of translated that into marketing.
From a practical perspective, how do you tailor marketing strategies to accommodate the diverse range of events and experiences that TicketSocket supports? I'm thinking everything from fun runs to music festivals, right?
Yes, there are a lot of different events that we work with. And the first thing that we do is really look at who's their target market because, sometimes we'll do conventions that are geared towards toddlers, which obviously you're marketing to mom too in those cases. And then we do a lot of air shows, which, might garner a little bit older audience. And so you have to kind of approach each event with who is their target market, which is really marketing 101, but sometimes we forget that. And you have to think, where are they spending their time? And that's where we want to be with our marketing. I do heavily focus in digital marketing. That is my specialty. But I do have clients that don't do a lot of digital marketing. They're heavy up on getting news segments the week leading up to their event, doing billboards, having flyers in local grocery stores, like a lot more grassroots things. That works really great for circuses, monster truck shows, that sort of thing. So it's really just understanding who the audience is that we're marketing to first.
Thinking about all the clients and projects that you've worked on, which have been the most satisfying or personally rewarding and why?
I would say I have really found working with events to be really fun for me. And the reason being is I mentioned earlier, I have spent a large portion of my career working in medical device. And with medical device, there's a lot of things that come into play. There's HIPAA. There is the fact that a lot of times we're marketing to consumers, but it's actually doctors that are doing the sale. And so there's this big in between. So essentially what I'm saying, when you're doing medical device marketing, you can't always track that exact return on every tactic you're doing. It is difficult to measure when you're just trying to push people into a doctor's office and then you'll never know if those leads convert because HIPAA and all the compliancy and things in place. And with event marketing, I have loved seeing that direct return of seeing a sale come in from whatever marketing you're doing, knowing exactly how much money my social media ads are bringing in, how much money my email marketing strategy is bringing in, how much money SMS is bringing in, having those tangible results, essentially, that we talked about earlier, has made marketing just much more fun.
I'm curious what kinds of mechanisms you use to track those conversions in events. Are we talking, for example, about coupon codes or QR codes? What are your go-to conversion attribution techniques?
Yeah, sure. I would say at the foundation of it, of course, Google Analytics. So we'll have that installed and a lot of the proper tracking things in place, like using UTM parameters to track different marketing initiatives. So Google Analytics is usually kind of our home base. But again, we'll also look at the platforms we're using. So if we're using Meta ads, we will see the data within that dashboard. If we're using Active Campaign, we'll see the data within that dashboard. Attentive, whatever the tool is, we'll track it that way. In addition, we do a lot of affiliate marketing. So we will track those affiliate links. If we're running a particular promotion, we will track the promo code usage. If we're doing billboards or print marketing, yes, we do track the QR codes. So there is an element of a lot of different metrics being pulled in to kind of analyze what's working and what's not.
Well, if anyone listening is considering a career in digital marketing or maybe just entering the industry, what advice would you give them?
Me personally, I can watch and listen to things all day long, but you just got to get your hands in there because that is where you truly learn is by executing and doing. And you may make mistakes along the way, and that's actually great. That's where you learn 100 times more after you make a mistake. So if you're the type of person that is just consuming all the content, all the videos, purchasing every course, listening to podcasts, that's great. You're going to have great knowledge, but you just got to get in there and try it out.
Excellent advice. Well, I mentioned in the introduction that outside of work, you count biohacking among your interests. How did your interest develop, and has it influenced your approach to work?
So I'm pretty lightweight biohacker. I'm not a professional. Wouldn't take advice from me, but I, again, have this love of optimization. I started my career in search engine optimization. So just that tinkering with a website until you can get it number one on Google, at least back in the day. It's not as easy these days. And just loving what I do and wanting to bring the most attention and focus and make the best use of my time when I am working led me on that path of enjoying kind of that biohacking. What can I do to take care of myself so that I can perform at peak levels, which doesn't happen every day, but when you do fall off track, I always know how to get myself back on track. And yeah, I love consuming that kind of content, whether it's like Dave Asprey or Aubrey Marcus or Andrew Huberman. I just love that kind of content. I love trying different things on myself and learning my body and what works for me and what doesn't, because I have tried a lot of these trends or supplements that everyone says that this is so amazing, it'll change your life. And guess what? Did not work for me. My body did not agree with it. And you have to have also that element of just learning to listen to your own body and not taking what everyone says as full truth.
Well, you mentioned search engine optimization and some of the challenges that exist. How do you see artificial intelligence affecting traditional SEO? I mean, do you think search engines as we know them are an endangered species?
Great question. I'm not quite ready to venture and say endangered species, but there is evolution for sure. One thing that I'm always keeping in mind when I am still working on SEO is we've always created content in a sense of what will Google pull up in their search results. But now you have to think about what will Alexa say? How can I create content that's easy for Alexa to recognize and read out loud? And so there is that evolution happening for sure. And I do think it's going to advance very quickly with this jumping off the deep end into AI here lately. So I do think it is something to watch and be ready for. A lot of the old tactics still work, but got to do a lot more of it for it to be successful. But yeah, anyone listening, you should start thinking about how that's going to evolve.
I'm curious, Ashley, what's next for you, personally or professionally?
I am loving this space here in event marketing and really evolving Ice Cream Social and taking into consideration what is happening with AI and how do we evolve that word of mouth marketing, because it's not always at your neighborhood barbecue now, just chatting with your neighbors, talking about what you love. It is going to evolve. It is evolving. And I'm excited to kind of follow that and see what's next.
So this is obviously an audio-only podcast, but I can see a well-stocked bookshelf behind you. What have you been reading recently?
I did mention earlier, I love anything biohacking. So I am reading Dave Asprey's latest book. But if I can recommend one book for anyone to read, it is called The Desire Map by Danielle Laporte. It's more than a book. It's a little bit of a workbook. And you go through all these questions and exercises. And at the end of it, you come out with these core desired feelings that you want to be themes in your life. I don't like to compartmentalize my life. I like work and life and hobbies to all flow. And so I have these words that become themes in my life and become the filters of my decision making. And I first did this book maybe 10 years ago. And I try to do it every couple years because we evolve, we change as people, you reach goals, you move on, things happen, life changes. And so I've done this book maybe 3 or 4 times. And every time I've done it, there's been one word that always remains the same, and that's freedom. And I'll say in America, yes, we have a very different meaning behind the word freedom than many other people get to experience. So it is quite a luxury. But over the years, it's really evolved for me. When I first did the book, Freedom, all I could think about was money. I need financial freedom. I want to reach my goals. And then it became time freedom. Work gets busy. You do start making money. You have small children, and all you want is time. And then now it's really evolved for me into this idea of opportunity freedom, like creating, yes, the time and the financial space in my life to have opportunity to choose the things and projects that I want to work on, and always being available to say yes or no to what comes my way, depending on, what my interests are.
Ashley, if In Clear Focus listeners would like to learn more about you or your work with Ice Cream Social or TicketSocket, what's the best way to connect with you?
If you want to learn more about me, you can go to ashleynstanford.com. You can visit icecreamsocial.io or ticketsocket.com and let me know. Any questions you have, happy to connect.
Perfect. Ashley, thank you very much for being our guest on In Clear Focus.
Yes, appreciate it, Adrian. Had a good time.
Thanks again to my guest this week, digital marketing expert and entrepreneur Ashley Stanford. You'll find a complete transcript of our conversation with links to the resources we discussed on the In Clear Focus page at bigeyeagency.com. Just select Insights from the menu. Thank you for listening to In Clear Focus, produced by Big Eye. I've been your host, Adrian Tennant. Until next week, goodbye.